Welcome back to French Action with Jenny. Today, something a little bit special. The TEF examination, Test d'évaluation de français. Are you planning to emigrate to Canada or want to take the TEF just to know your level? Well, if that's what you want to do, then this video is for you. It will cover section A of the oral examination. Section B will be done in another video. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! The oral of the TEF lasts 15 minutes. There are two sections, section A, which lasts 5 minutes, and section B, which lasts 10 minutes. So today we're just going to look at section A. As I said before, section B will be done another day. Section A deals with the formal aspect of it. So we're going to have a conversation with the examiner, and it's going to be a formal one for 5 minutes. Something very important that you need to be aware of, there is no preparation time. So section A has one main task, which is to find out or to get as much information as possible on a given advert or event or activity you will be provided with. As I said before, it's a 5-minute formal conversation with the examiner with no preparation time. Just imagine that you are given this ad. It says Colonie de vacances, découverte de la nature pour enfants, juillet-août. Contactez-nous au 0800 356 710. The examiner will give you the time just to read your instructions. So, la consigne. I'm going to read the instructions. Vous avez lu cette publicité et vous êtes intéressé. Vous téléphonez pour avoir plus d'informations. Posez une dizaine de questions. Votre examinateur ou votre examinatrice joue le rôle de votre interlocuteur ou interlocutrice. So just a quick recap on the instructions. So you have to remember that there's no preparation time, so you'll be given 1 to 2 minutes just to read the instructions. In this case, I think it's going to be 1 minute because there's not much to read. You need to remember that it's formal, so you will have to use vous. So be careful if you are used to using tu. You have to make sure that this section is well done with the vous form. Now, go back to your instructions and look at the key words. A very important one is téléphoner. So if you read vous téléphonez, you know that your conversation is going to start with allô, which is what we use when we make a phone call. So be careful. If it's a face-to-face interaction, obviously, you're not going to say allô. Dizaine de questions. Dizaine means about 10. The examiner is not going to count how many questions you are asking, but it's not so much about the quantity, but the quality. Okay? A few tips about asking questions. Remember the what in English. You have the quoi, but also the que, qu'est-ce que, which you can be used in French when you want to use what. You have when, which is quand. You have to remember the word where, which is où, and who, which is qui. So these are the 4 questions you have to have in your mind each time you do this exercise. What, when, where, and who. quoi, quand, où, qui. Here is the advert again so that you know what to ask for, okay? Obviously on the day you will have it in front of you. So to help you, I have created a little introduction for you. Normally the examiner will start. So the examiner will say probably the name of the company and hello or something like that. So you could say hello, bonjour madame, if your examiner is a woman, or bonjour monsieur, if your examiner is a man. J'ai lu votre annonce sur la colonie de vacances et je vous appelle parce que je suis intéressé. Something like that. So you read the ad and you're calling because you are interested. The examiner is not going to give you any information at this point at all. The examiner may just say something like, oui, je vous écoute. And this will force you to ask a lot of questions. So I have come up with the questions, or possible questions. So one possible question is, cette colonie est destinée aux enfants de quel âge? This is important because it wasn't clear from the ad. But of course, you're not going to just give a series of questions like that. You may say, je voudrais savoir à qui est destiné, or j'ai besoin de plus d'informations. Okay, you can come up with some sentences before actually asking the questions. Otherwise, it would look like just pure questions. It would be a bit weird. Okay, quand a lieu cette colonie? So you want to know when it's taking place because it wasn't clear from the ad. Quelles sont les périodes en août? If you are interested in August, for example. Quelle est la durée de la colonie de vacances? Or, c'est pour combien de jours? Or, c'est pour combien de semaines? This wasn't mentioned either. Où se déroule cette colonie? Very important, you know that is going to be somewhere in outdoor, but where exactly? This was not mentioned. Quel type d'activité proposez-vous aux enfants? What types of activities do you offer to the children? Comment vont-ils découvrir la nature? This is another possibility because you remember that on the ad it says that the colonie de vacances is really to discover nature. So how are they going to discover it? And there were some tents as well. So you may want to ask if you have to buy a tent. Faut-il acheter une tente? And you could ask maybe for renting a tent if necessary. C'est combien pour la colonie? How much does it cost? Que comprend le prix? What does the price cover? Quand faut-il payer? When do you have to pay? So these were some examples. Of course, it's not exhaustive, but just to give you an idea of what type of questions the examiner would be looking for. Now, when you have asked all your questions and you get all the information, you need to end the conversation. And you could end it this way. Je vous remercie pour toutes ces informations. Je vais en discuter avec mon mari, ou je vais en discuter avec ma femme. Je vous recontacterai. Au revoir, madame, or au revoir, monsieur. Something like that. And that will end the oral exam section A. So what are the criteria for section A? Well, it is the capacité à obtenir des informations. So you're going to be assessed on your ability to get information from the examiner. This is not going to be an easy task because the examiner will at times be very vague and you'll have to really ask for clarifications, or sometimes you'll find that the examiner might give you answers which are really unexpected and you have to react to those. So this is what you're going to be assessed on. Just a quick reminder, the TEF is not a pass or fail examination. Each task will be given a level. So section A will be given a level, whether it's basic, A1, A2, or intermediate, B1, B2, or advanced, C1, C2. So how you met the criteria, very important. Have you asked relevant questions? Did the examiner have to intervene to get the conversation going? Because if that's the case, then you're not an independent user. Then you would be an A1 or an A2. When you were given incomplete information, did you manage to fill in the gaps? Did you manage to get that information from the examiner? How did you react to the examiner's responses? Because sometimes, as I explained, the examiner will give you responses which you think, oh gosh, oh, I didn't think about that. So you don't panic, you just, calmly react to it. Now, let's look at the key to the levels, starting with A1. So it's going to be very limited, not enough questions, and the conversation heavily depends on the examiner. For A2, simple questions, very general, and the examiner still needs to intervene and the examiner has to make a bit of effort to keep the conversation going. B1, the candidate asks good questions and manages to get clarifications. B2, the candidate reacts with confidence to given information and the conversation is sustained. But at this point, you are quite fluent. Very important to note. For C1 and C2, you are near native, but you have to be careful because even then, when we say near native, you'll find that native speakers who have to take this exam, this TEF, often don't perform as well as they could have because they didn't want to take the exam in the first place, or they felt because they are French, they don't need to take it. But it is possible for a French native not to get a C2, okay, but just a C1. So you have to be careful. This is an exam which needs preparation. You can't just get to the TEF without being prepared. If you're not quite sure about the levels which I've mentioned before, then I advise you to really watch the video, a video that I made a while ago. And all the levels are explained in it. And it's called Evaluate Your Own Level of French. It gives you an idea as to what an A1 or B1 or C1 is. Did you find this video useful? I hope you did. I hope that you liked it, and don't forget to share it, and of course subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Au revoir!